Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Channel Iowa Yieldcast. I'm your host, Matthew Nelson, and today I'm joined by Channel Technical Agronomists Jeremy Miner and Katherine Rod, and we're going to go through more harvest results. Let's go ahead and jump in. Jeremy, this is your first plot you wanted to highlight, a soybean plot. Why don't you take us to it?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Matt. Just so everybody's aware, this plot was located in Clinton County, which would be in east central Iowa. And we had everything from 2.3 relative maturity up to 3.3. So we ran a full 1.0 RM spread there. And I guess the key thing I wanted to point out about this plot was just, all across the state of Iowa, we had varying levels of rainfall in my territory. So I guess I should maybe start with that. So I cover southeast Iowa and basically the lower corner of Iowa's nose all the way down to the Missouri border. And I cover 19 counties that way. So I ran into everything from major drought to actually excessive moisture early on in the planting season, if you can believe that, from north to south. So we had a lot of variable precipitation activity events going on here, and this was just one that we were probably a few inches short of rainfall, but the productivity out of this plot was pretty amazing. So, and just to highlight some of the key products in this plot, so just the top five there, 2321 RXF won the plot doing 84.5 bushels, and then 2721s, 3322s, and 2521s. Then we rounded off the top five with 2420s, but anywhere from 84.5 bushels per acre to win the plot to 78.3 bushels for the 2420. So just based on what we had for weather, I think everybody was really surprised or has been really surprised and pretty happy related to the performance of our XtendFlex lineup. So this was a really good plot to show our yield advantage over our competitors, even on the Xtend platform with our competitors, 7.5 bushel yield advantage. So, things were performing well under the adverse conditions that we have. So, I mean, just to have a plot average, that high, it's pretty amazing. One of the key products I wanted to pull out and just focus on in here would be the 2721s. I cover a wide range of relative maturities, but on the earlier side, I really have a thing for 2721s. I think they're a real dependable soybean. They have great standability. We are going to want to use a levo for anything, if we have in some severe heavy SDS pressure, those types of situations. But I've got some performance information here on this slide that just shows you a southeast Iowa bias, but then just scattered across the state as well. That we were doing some great things with this particular bean and showing a 5.4 bushel advantage over our competitors' overall platforms. So,
and I would agree, these have been looking very well, especially as you move north into my territory, which is east central Iowa. So I cover the Highway 20 corridor. And even as these move north to Highway 20, the 2721s have been performing very well up here as well.
Yeah, and they in my area as well. It seemed to be more offensive, but very dependable. Excellent standability and just a really versatile product that I think is going to cover a lot of acres for us.
Yeah, the versatile to optimum acres are really the place to go with this one. I would lay off anything that would be, heavily, real heavy soils that stay wet longer. I would maybe avoid that, but definitely everywhere else this has a place. I guess I would say my new favorite bean, or my favorite bean to the south, would be 3322 RXFs. The 3322s are just performing tremendous. As yield data comes in, we're seeing just some excellent performance data. You can see on this screen here, I mean, we've gone anywhere from 91 bushels in Guthrie County, to even in our severe drought areas down to 71 bushels, but still coming in within the top, placing first, second, or third in a lot of those plots. And not that we want to chase a plot winner, but we want a lot of data so we can understand consistent performance. And I think this bean is really showing it a lot. So again, it's like 2721s. I think there's a broad acre fit here. We're above average tolerance on SDS, which can be a problem, especially in southeast Iowa, but just great standability for a fuller season bean, and just have no complaints or concerns about this particular bean right now. So we're happy to have that one in the lineup.
Jeremy, I've got a plot that this is coming out today in near the Victor area, and boy, I've looked at it all season. Really tall, but standing excellently and just loaded with pods. So
yes,
very excited about what we're getting from 3322.
You bet.
Let's jump into some corn.
Yeah, so jumping into corn, a couple of different situations with corn plots this year. So, we have a lot of guys that prefer fungicide or have that in their management plan, and some guys that don't. And we're always trying to understand whether or not we get that yield benefit. Now, just to show an example here, we are on some better fertility ground on this plot that came out of Cedar County. Top 5 products there. Leading ours was 213.93 stacks, a plot or a product that doesn't need a whole lot of population. We put fungicide on this plot and 288 bushels at 21% moisture. So just tremendous performance there. And then the other stacks products that I really like in here, 214.22, 209.06, products that have been consistent in the past, and they're just showing themselves again. But I mean, the plot average was 254. We were about maybe 3 or 4 inches below normal, and we just really had a couple of key rainfall events. So it really goes to show you that, throughout the season, if we can get a couple of, we need a lot of rain, obviously, or need enough moisture to make a crop. But if we can get those key moisture events to happen during key growth phases in corn, we can really pull some tremendous yields out. So pleasantly surprised in this particular plot. And, you can see some of the rainfall information there. We didn't have the last significant rainfall we had of an inch or more was on September 4th. We're looking at October 18th right now. So it's been a long time. Now, we did catch some rains last week, but this plot obviously was harvested. So we just caught a few key things, and that really helped us plot out. Conversely here, this plot here out of Wapello County, we were almost, we were anywhere from 8 to 10 inches below normal for most of the season. This plot got planted on time. This is a double pro plot. But the products that rose to the top in this plot are ones that we would expect to, just based on their past performance, but specifically calling out, their natural drought tolerance and then the drought guard gene as well. So 208.38 rose, right to the top, placing first in that plot. 207.87, we've heard even on the previous Yieldcast that product is performing well under stress. 210.79 drought guard double pro. So we have the drought guard gene to help us out there. Just some tremendous performance there by some of our key big hitters there. And then not to count out any of the new products, but 210.46 double pro rounding out the top 5 as well. And that's a new product for this year. So, but very excited to see some of these products just do what we expect them to do, especially under adverse conditions like this.
Yeah, and Jeremy, an interesting trend that I see here with this, being a stress, low rainfall location is the fuller season products seeming to pay a little bit of a penalty for, being fuller season, for not having the moisture needed to fill out through that grain fill period successfully. And I've seen that in locations and in other spots. It is the opposite. Some of these later season rains and milder late summer weather was enough to help out those fuller season products. But I just think that's an interesting trend that I have seen in a few locations.
No, it's a good point, Matt. And I've seen that in a couple of different spots, especially when we start pushing, 6, 8, 10 inches below normal for rainfall. The fuller season products almost just died right there in the field. They just could not pull any moisture out, no nutrients or anything, and the plants really just died. So nothing in particular, nothing against the hybrids, but more of a weather and environmental factor there.
Yeah, and you can notice that in the grain moistures on some of those fuller season hybrids for sure.
Yep, and no fungicide on this particular plot too, which is what I wanted to kind of roll into here. We've seen a couple of different events go on disease-wise this year. It's been very hot and very dry, but tar spot has definitely been one of those diseases that has really jumped on everybody's radar. And you can see from these pictures here, I have a plot in Jackson County that I was able to get an aerial photo of with no fungicide on there. The same plot set, just in 2 different areas, 2 different soil types, and then one with fungicide and one without. And man, I tell you what, with fungicide this year was pretty amazing to see the differences. Katherine, I'm sure you've seen some of the same things.
Yes, I really have. And I even have a field in Lynn County, which is one of the hot zones for tar spot in Iowa this year. And there was a noticeable difference between the fungicide part of the plot and the non-fungicide part of the plot. And there is a significant difference in severity levels of tar spot when a fungicide is used.
Yeah, so a couple of pictures that I have here are of 210.46 smart stacks, new product that's in plots this year. Really good plant health, so it was good to see that without fungicide on the left-hand side there. Holding itself together rather well, I would say average. But then on the right there, where you can see where we've applied Delaro, boy, the tar spot was held off, and the plant health was just more impressive there. Same thing with some of our older products too. We're able to go out and judge how some of these genetics are handling things. 207-27 stacks on the left-hand side there, no fungicide. I would say more of an average performer there. But then, with an application of Delaro, and these were one-time applications of fungicide here on the right, I mean, it really just cleaned it up. So timing is going to have to be the key. It's definitely something we're learning from this year. And, once more data comes in, we'll be able to provide a little bit more guidance with a lot of these genetics going forward.
Absolutely. With that, Katherine, we'll jump into to corn up in your territory. Looks like this plot was near Parkersburg.
Yes, so this plot was just north of Parkersburg, Iowa, in Butler County. Our cooperators are a really good cooperator, high fertility acre for this one, nice black soil. This plot was planted April 30th and it came out October 4th. So this is a double pro plot. We threw a bunch of products in there, anywhere from 101 day to 117 day. So we got a wide gamut of channel products up here in East Central Iowa. We had a 35,000 plant population at 30-inch rows. And the big thing that I do want to talk about for my territory is we were in a D2 to D3 drought all season. So we were very, very dry. This plot, we dusted it in and prayed for rain. We got it, but enough to keep moving it along. And so over on the right, you'll see our August 1st rain total. So from April 30th to August 1st, we had 6.6 inches on this plot. And it looked like it only had 6 inches all year. But then in August, we doubled our rainfall basically and got 8.5 inches in August. So by September 1st, we had 15 inches on this, and it really showed the power of rain during reproductive stages for both corn, and then we'll see it again in soybeans in my territory. So with this plot, our new product, 21060 Tricepta won this plot at 275 bushels per acre, followed by the new 21478 Drought Guard at 273 bushels per acre. And then our 20787 had 273 bushels per acre as well. And then we go on from there. What I really want to call out is I'm really liking this 20787. It has worked well across my territory, especially in that 110-day range, going from tough soils to really productive soils. And you can see the ears here all the way to the right. Nice girth, really nice length. I really like that product. The ear height on that is nice and a medium level, not super high. All the way over, we have a brand new product, 21060. Those ears are really girthy. They might look a little shorter, but they really make it up for it in girth. And then 21478, we are able to move this product this far north, Highway 20, even a little bit north of Highway 20. I think this field is about 20 miles north of Highway 20, and that 21478 is still performing up here as well. Really good.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with these products as well. And that 20787 is a nice product because not only does it give you absolute top flight yield potential, as we know, but the drought tolerance and the stress tolerance to handle some lighter and some variable soils. For the most part, it's hung in really well at harvest and has been fun to combine for most guys, which is something we always look for, is that agronomic stability to pair with that top end yield.
Yes. Yes, and that product has done really well for us up here as well. So the next one I want to talk about is our soybeans. So this plot is north of Winthrop in Buchanan County, Iowa. So also about 20 miles north of Highway 20. This plot was planted May 5th and taken out on September 27th. Again, from planting to August 1st, we had 9 inches of rain.
Oh, man.
And then we doubled it again in September. And we added 10 inches of rain to 19 inches of rain by September 1st. So again, the power of water during reproductive growth stages of soybeans.
It was nice and dry in your part of the world, wasn't it?
Oh, it was so dry. But with all of that, we were still able to pull out 70 plus bushel per acre yields of these soybean products. And so the two I really want to highlight here is 1822 is their brand new product. They've been performing really well across my territory, winning plots and they look really strong. They have an average SDS and white mold tolerance, so really looking forward to seeing how these work in a large scale next year. The other one I want to highlight is the 2420s. I know I might be some of the ones that love the 2420s the most, but I think this is a really unique product that works well on a tougher acre, drier acre, and it has handled the drought in my territory very well. Potted all the way up and down all of the nodes, has some extra nodes compared to some other products that we have. Really, really like this product. But this is for the experienced soybean grower. I will throw that out there. This product can lodge on high fertility situations, but in a tougher acre situation, the 2420s shine. And we've seen good results from this, especially against our competitors.
It's really a remarkable variety. It looks distinct. It's a little ugly looking at harvest. It will tend to lodge, and a lot of times it will pick itself back up as those leaves fall off. But even where it is lodged, the yield is absolutely there. And I've seen the same thing. When I have it in fields that are a little sandy or the location's a little bit tougher, these beans just absolutely shine. They've got great stress tolerance, and probably one of my favorite varieties for those acres. It's rare to find that type of yield potential on some of those really tough farms, and 2420 seems to really be able to do that.
Yes, I think there's a lot of versatility on that medium to tough acre for the 2420s. And kind of from these pictures that I have here, these aren't from that exact location, but they give a really good phenotype of these products. That the 2420s you can see are kind of a little leaning. Again, they're for that experienced soybean grower. They're not the prettiest soybean to look at, but man, do they pack a punch. Same thing can kind of be said for the 1822s as well. I took that photo, I took that from Paul Parcher, our agronomist to the north of me. But I also have seen a little bit of leaning in the 1822s, but not bad. They've looked really well. They are easy to walk down, and their standability looks really good. And then the pretty bean of the channel lineup is the 2321s.
Absolutely.
These have done really great on that high fertility acre. We'll see that next. But these are your pretty beans. They're nice and pretty. They're nice and tall. Their standability is great. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how these yield all year. So like I said, this is my high fertility soybean plot. The soybean plot has had been multiple years corn previous, lots of hog manure. So the fertility is out the roof at this location, and we can really see that in these yields. I mean, 90 bushel per acre, like wow, for soybeans. And the same story with this one. We've only had 14 inches of rain all year, and by August 1st, we had 6.4 inches of rain, and we doubled it in August, and we ended it by September 1st. We had 12.8 inches of rain. So again, the power of water during those reproductive stages of that R4 to R6 in soybeans, so that pod set and pod growth and seed growth, and then high fertility just knocked this one out of the park. So for here, our yields, our top yielding product was 2321 with 97.6 bushel an acre, followed by the 2221s, the 2521s, and the 2420s. So even in a high fertility situation, these 2420s did really well. However, they were lodged quite significantly. So it is what it is. I will note that the 2021s, those were next to the corn plot, and I think those got dinged from the corn herbicide program there. But overall, I mean, I'm really impressed with how well these soybean products did, even in a high fertility situation. And these were planted at 145,000 plants per acre. So kudos to our products for standing and yielding this well.
Absolutely. That's wow, to see 4 products in the 90s on a soybean plot is always nice. And those, 23, 22, 21 through 25, 21 are really some of our key products for the state of Iowa. So this is great data to see.
Yes, and I really think this is it can show that if we have to have a high fertility situation, there are you can have a good yield response on soybeans from that.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we have for today. Thank you, Katherine. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. You can always find us on Twitter. We're Iowa_channel. You can find us through there. You can find us on YouTube. We appreciate you watching, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks.